Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I just recently saw the film Blowout from 1981, directed by Brian De Palma. It's my first time seeing it. I saw it on Amazon Prime. I heard many good things about the film. I even saw Brian De Palma talk about it on the De Palma documentary. He has had films like Body Double, The Untouchables, Mission Impossible, Scarface, Carlito's Way, and Femme Fatale under his belt. And I think he's a very underrated filmmaker. And in many ways, this is an experimental film, but I feel like it's an underrated film, especially from Brian De Palma. It's an overlooked film, and I think John Travolta gives one of his best performances in this film. For those who don't know, John Travolta plays a man named Jack, who basically is a sound designer. He works on really kind of sleazy, low-rated B movies. He's a sound designer. And this is before computers, so he actually records sound on audio tape and mixes it. He's recording sounds one night, and he accidentally hears a blowout of a car tire. And supposedly he ends up rescuing this woman played by Nancy Allen. You find out that a presidential hopeful was in the car and has passed away. People are telling him to forget about it and everything. And you discover that it may in fact not have been a regular blowout. It was a gunshot. So it's kind of a political conspiracy. Jack starts to figure out stuff and starts to investigate the reasoning behind this blowout and death and why people want him to forget about it. It's a very well done thriller from Brian De Palma. I really like this movie. It was influenced from the 60s film Blow Up. And Blowout is kind of similar in a way, but instead of a photographer, it's a sound designer, and I like it. It's a very different role for John Travolta, yet it's a role that's in the movies. They even poke fun at movies. It starts with like a slasher horror film, with the Steadicam being used. Brian De Palma's first movie with a Steadicam. A very brilliant opening. I actually thought it was the actual movie, and it turns out it's a movie within a movie. That's the movie they're working on the sound design for at the beginning, and I just love that. And of course you have Nancy Allen as Sally, as her and Jack try to figure out what caused the accident. You also have another element there with John Lithgow's character of Burke. He's a very mysterious kind of like government agent character. He's behind the gunshot, and he's also a person that's targeting different people. He's a threat in this. There's a very menacing, just malevolent vibe to John Lithgow. He knows how to play that very well. And we get to see him just target people in this, and the camera use is also very well done, whether it be low angles, high angles, shadow shots, things like that. And you also have uses of split screen diopter shots. Brian De Palma loves to use those in his films, and you really get to see a great deal of split screen diopter shots in this, whether it be with sound design, hearing Jack thinking about what happened with the accident, of him listening to the sounds over and over of what he thinks is a gunshot shooting the tire before the blowout. And I love it. It really played upon the Reagan era and like post-Watergate era of political scandals. You know, it's very much like All the President's Men or The Conversation by Francis Ford Coppola. It has those elements with John Travolta. Quentin Tarantino is a fan of this film. As a matter of fact, this film with John Travolta is what influenced him to cast him as Vincent Vega in Pulp Fiction. I love Blowout. I've heard many great things, and it's such a joy to finally see this film. I'm a big Brian De Palma fan, and this is definitely an underrated film I want to bring to everyone's attention. If you have never seen it, you can check it out on Amazon Prime. I think it's a fantastic film. It has a strong story, and the cinematography is just breathtaking. Certain shots used. It's very much an experimental film, and there's a lot of heart and soul that Brian De Palma put into this film. He wrote and directed this masterful thriller, and it's just very well done. It's a very different type of film compared to his other films, but you can definitely see elements he would use in later films, especially like Body Double or Untouchables and Carlito's Way, a little bit of Scarface. It's crazy to think that he did Scarface after this, but this is 1981. John Travolta is still at the peak of his career, and this is a very different role as a character of Jack. It's not like Tony Manero. It's not like Urban Cowboy. It's a very different role for John Travolta, and I like him in this. It's the character of Jack. He's a sound designer. He's just kind of fed up with his job, you know? Like, he has these aspirations, but he's just kind of tired of working on sound for B movies, like really sleazy kind of horror, almost X-rated B movies. And he ends up stumbling upon this accident that turns out to be a political scandal. We also have somebody from the show NYPD Blue in the film with Dennis Franz. He was later in Die Hard too. I like him in this. He was a photographer that saw the incident. And it's great seeing John Travolta as Jack trying to piece together all the pieces to this accident, this blowout, so to speak. And Brian De Palma does a very good job playing with sound design. This has a wonderful use of sound design. In addition, the music is also very fantastic. Pino Donaggio does the music for this film, and I love the score. Some very heartfelt, emotional moments. The ending is very intense. When Jack starts to figure stuff out, there's this good synthesized theme that starts kind of getting everybody kind of excited, you know? It's just like it kind of has you on edge, and I love the use of images with the music in this. And John Travolta gives one of his best and most underrated roles. He actually suffered insomnia during the making of this film, which is why he looks so kind of like tired and just wrung out. He was actually dealing with insomnia during the making of this, and it's just amazing. This film is a hidden gem, and I want to bring it to everybody's attention. I give it a 4 out of 5. Blowout is a Brian De Palma classic. He's made many great films in his filmography, but this is one film that's been totally overlooked, and especially with John Travolta, an early John Travolta film, very well done. Nancy Allen, as Sally, does a great job. She was married to Brian De Palma at the time. Of course, Nancy Allen would later on be seen in RoboCop. And here, she kind of played her like a rag doll, so to speak. So she's very naive and not the brightest crayon in the box, but at the same time, she's a very kind-hearted individual, you know? She kind of doesn't deserve the stuff that happens to her in this film. And it's just crazy. And again, John Lithgow's Burke is just menacing, you know? He's this character that has a mission, gets the job done, but sometimes goes against orders and determines his own judgment. And he plays that very well. You see a role like that later when he guest starred on Dexter for Showtime. And it's fantastic. If you have not seen Blowout, do yourself a favor and check out Blowout, especially if you're a John Travolta or Brian De Palma fan. If you have seen Blowout, let me know your thoughts on the film. I saw it for the first time just now on Amazon Prime, and I thought it was a wonderful film, so feel free to let me know your thoughts on the film Blowout. That is all for Hidden Gems today. You can follow me on the Stardust app at Fred Film Fanatic, and here are some more videos you can enjoy on my channel. Till next time.